Hello everybody, this is Adrienne with Essential Soul Coaching. Today is September the 19th, 2023, and we're going to talk about Russell Brand today. I know a lot of you all have heard the story about the 4 women who alleged that he raped them a few years ago. I have been a Russell Brand follower for a few years when he was making movies. Get Him to the Greek. I love that movie. And then when he was doing all the talk shows talking about political issues, he's a very fast talker. I'm a fast talker too, but he's a very fast talker. But what he does do is he makes sense, and he drops a lot of logic and facts in his conversation. And I believe a lot of the times why he talks so fast is because he knows when he's on television that, and especially on those news shows, they're only going to give him so much time to make his point. So he really drops the facts fast. But if you follow him, you understand he's a very smart, intuitive, intellectual person, and there's a lot that he has about knowledge he has about what's happening in the world, and so he's interesting to listen to. And I only learned about his YouTube channel in probably 2021 during the COVID time, because of course we were all home working from home, and I had the internet on the background while I'm working. So I would listen to him, and I think he maybe had 200 and some thousand followers at that time, maybe, and I saw his numbers grow exponentially over the months, and then now he's at 6.8 something like that million subscribers. I mean, he just has a lot to say. He did a lot of expert interviews. He had a lot of controversial people on his podcast or his YouTube channel, and so they all were feeding us information that we needed to know about what was happening in the world from different perspectives and what mainstream media was telling us. And so a lot of things he was saying and a lot of things that his guests were saying, really reinforced what most of us had known, is that there was something wrong going on with the government and inside the world. There's too many things that's going on. There's too many distractions, and there seems to be an agenda. And these are the things that's happening that's taking our rights away. And the military-industrial complex system is a beast, and it's in effect right now. Those are the things he was talking about. Pharmaceuticals making big profits, the mandates taking away our rights, the politics and who's feeding who and who's working with who, and is it really best for the people? So, and I'll let you listen to a couple of clips of what he talked about.
We're in the midst of a great tragedy, and whenever there are events of this nature, it's prudent to acknowledge the suffering of those most immediately affected, and wise to recognise that mainstream media and state interests continually use legitimate tragedies in an opportunistic way. Is there some way that we can benefit from these events? You don't need to go so far as to say, hang on a minute, was this deliberately caused? Although it's always worth analysing and scrutinising all possibilities, one thing I've learned in the last few years is things that start off as wacky conspiracies often end up being conspiracy facts. But even in the event where there are rather more exaggerated conspiracies out there, you can often find when you look closely that there's a grain of truth in them, or even more than a grain, a kind of legitimate concern that powerful interests benefit from what to most people are tragedies. You can see that across the globe. Financial catastrophes that ruin most people's lives are beneficial to financial elites. Wars that ruin the lives of Ukrainian and Russian people are beneficial to the weapons manufacturing industry. So how is this fire being used? What's the truth about it, and why are there so many conspiracy theories?
So you can see he's very controversial if you're the elites and you don't want that information to get out. So I was thinking along the way, they're going to come after Russell. I mean, they can't allow him to continue to talk about these things with facts and have that many people listening to him every single time he puts a video out. So I knew that eventually they were going to come from him. I didn't know how. Now, I do understand he wrote a book a while back about his lifestyle and what had happened to him when he was younger, and how it translated him being a drug addict and a sex addict and all these other things. And I know he's married to Katy Perry, and I knew that relationship ended, I guess, within a year or two. It wasn't a long relationship, a long marriage. And now he's married again. But there was this transformation of Russell, and he became this figure that a lot of people wanted to listen to because he was bringing the facts, and so it was helping them to understand and open their eyes up to what was happening in the world. And that made the elites cannot allow that to happen. You can have a couple of YouTube channels that's going to talk about certain things. You can use the word alleged, and I don't think he was using the word alleged much, but let's just say But when you grow that fast and you're telling all the secrets that you know of, or you're connecting the dots as you see it, and as your experts and other people around you are connecting the dots and helping to open up eyes of other people so that they can rise up and to stop any tyranny that they perceive that's happening, they're going to come after you. And people saying, well, he's a sex addict, and he did have a tumultuous younger life when he was seeing a lot of women, and he's admitted to all these things. And yes, he has. He was very transparent about it, and I was shocked that was how his life was when he was growing up and in his early 20s and early 30s, what was happening in his life. But now, as you see that he's transformed into this person who is more serious, more conscientious, and maybe he's always been that, but it came out in the past few years that this person that people stop and listen to, and he tells you how he overcame all of his demons, and that's a good thing. Yeah, we all done things in the past that we're not proud of, but he was able to acknowledge it, all the skeletons in his closet. So I didn't listen to the documentary that came out in Britain about these 4 women, but someone did a breakdown about it, and I'll let you listen to what she says about it.
4 women have alleged sexual assaults between 2006 and 2013. Now I'm skipping around a little bit. 1 woman alleges that Brand raped her against a wall in his Los Angeles home. She was treated at a rape crisis center on the same day, according to medical records. Text messages show that in the hours after leaving his house, she told Brand that she had been scared by him and felt taken advantage of, adding, "When a girl says no, it means no." And Brand replied saying he was very sorry. Then they move on to the second woman. Now, I'm going to say that before we move on to the second woman, because they know that most people are likely to just read the first couple of paragraphs of this thing or the headline, and they're not going to read any deeper into the story. But when you go deeper into the story, you find out that this woman, this first woman who said, when a girl says no, it means no, she was talking about going condomless. That's what no means no. She was saying, I wanted you to wear a condom and you didn't. And when I say no to the no condom, that's a girl means no. And that's what she's talking about, not the actual act of sex itself. And we'll get into those text messages a little bit deeper. Let's move on to the second woman, but I just want to mention what the first one, what the allegations are and what they're omitting. The second woman alleges that Brand assaulted her when he was 31 and she was 16 and still at school. She said he referred to her as the child during an emotionally abusive and controlling relationship that lasted for about 3 months, and that Brand once forced his penis down her throat, making her choke. She says he tried to push him off, and she said she had to punch him in the stomach to make him stop. So he was 31, she was 16. The age of consent in the UK is 16. You might not like that. It is what it is. If you don't like that and you believe that this was sexual assault because of their age difference, then change the age of consent. So Russell Brand, was it inappropriate for 31, to be sleeping with a 16-year-old, dating a 16-year-old? Yeah, pretty creepy, but not illegal, not rape. The third woman claims that he sexually assaulted her while she worked with him in Los Angeles, and that he threatened to take legal action if she told anyone else about her allegation. That doesn't look like sexual assault. We're going to go over that one, but that actually looks more like sexual harassment in the workplace, and that they were in a consensual, all of these women, by the way, he was in a consensual sexual relationship with all of them. This one in particular, it sounds like, she worked for him or she worked with him, but he was in more of a position of power. They started a relationship. He said, don't tell anybody about it because he said, my contract, I'm not supposed to date anybody at work. That wasn't really true. Maybe he just didn't want anybody to know about it. And, when it ended, she didn't like the way it ended. When it ended and she maybe accused him of sexual harassment or something, it's unclear what she accused him of. She doesn't say sexual assault, really. He then said, apparently there was some squabble about that, and he was like, well, I'll sue you, which I think, again, if you're threatening legal action, I think that kind of, everybody starts screaming at each other, well, then I'll sue you, I'll sue you. People just start to go down that path. The last woman described being sexually assaulted and him being physically and emotionally abusive towards her.
I'm not going to come out and say I don't believe women when they say they've been raped or assaulted or something happened that they didn't want to happen when they were dating a particular person or seeing a particular person, especially a star. But I don't like it when women wait so long to come out and tell the story when someone is on the trajectory of moving up higher, or say in this case where the elites are watching him, and all of a sudden, so conveniently, we have these women come out and say this. And none of it seems like it's rape to me. I mean, maybe there's he's a narcissistic about certain things, and he's definitely a sex addict, and he knows what he wants, and you're going to go out with him, and you're going to go to his hotel room or his home, and he's single. Things may happen, right? I'm not blaming the victim. I'm just making a point that these grown women go to these people's houses knowing this person is his way. These women were seeing him. Nothing was new. It's like you were with him in a relationship, or at least a sexual, casual relationship. And not to say that you can't get raped or hurt in a casual relationship. I'm just saying that why do you wait so long to come out now? And it just seems so contrived. I don't know. I'm only saying how it appears to me. I'm going to wait until the evidence comes out before I determine if they're telling the truth or not. I'm just saying it's just so convenient that now that he's this rising political commentator telling the truth about stuff, they come for him. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So I want to do a little reading on him today. And how is he going to come out of this? And what is this? Okay, let me ask the question. How is he feeling now about what's happened? I mean, you all could say, how he's feeling, but let's just get the cards to let us know how he's feeling. So I used the French set of cards, the cards de Homme Nouveau, the new man. It's an oracle deck. So I threw out 3 cards for him today. And the first card came out was the Fool in its reverse. Now look at this, the Joker. He was the Joker. He was a comedian. He was some type of black comedy. I don't know what you call it, British humor, I suppose, maybe. But this card actually came out reversed. And the Fool is about being on a new journey, being adventurous, being risky. And how he's feeling now is that he has been. How he's feeling now is he's been very risky. He knew that speaking out about these things was going to cause people to not only be drawn to him to get more knowledge, but he also knew that the people, as he grew so big, that the big people are going to be looking at him, that this is impacting, and they're probably going to want to one day shut him down. Hopefully he has made some plans and has some other options available to him for that, but I think he knew. But right now, the Fool, he's now becoming more serious, careful, looking at different options than what he first started out with. Yeah, he's being very cautious right now. And then the next card I pulled out was L'Erection. It has nothing to do with sex. It has to do with the rise of the man. So this is going to take him from here to here. He's going to be, from today or the past couple of days when they started taking things away from him, like his YouTube channel's been demonetized, and some of his people, the brands behind him, are saying they're going to pull out and not support him anymore, break his contracts with him. So he's going to stand and lose a lot of money. But they're going to try to break him, just like they did with Trump, y'all. Just what they're doing with Trump. Not a Trump fan, just saying Trump got himself in this situation, but he's being ostracized, he's being humiliated, and they're trying to break him down because he won't go along with the agenda he had originally signed up for. Russell never signed up for the agenda, but he is definitely talking about it. But they're going to try to break him down, and that's what he's also thinking about himself. He's going to rise again because he's seen himself from how he was raised as a child, the awful stuff that went on when he was a child, to him becoming a comedian, a popular comedian, then going from that chaos of his life, even when he was a comedian, and being able to clean himself up, and now just become this political commentator, a wake-upism commentator, and he sees it. He knows he's going to rise again. He knows he's going to come out of this, and he's going to be a better man for it. No matter what happens, he's going to be a better man for it. That's what he's thinking. And so the last card I pulled was Victim, and it's this way. This is the right side up. You can see that, but it was reversed. There are no victims in this thing. He doesn't see himself as a victim. He doesn't see the women as a victim. He knows his story. He knows his truth. So he knows he's going to come out a better person. He's not going to be a victim. He's going to fight back. And the reason why he's going to be erected to this new man is because the people, the citizens are going to get behind him, and they're going to cause a stink with YouTube and all these other places, not who are canceling his channel or his demonetizing him, or who are pulling out of his brand advertisements with him. They're going to speak up because a lot of people are very upset. A lot of people, not just me, were watching thinking this is going to happen, and then all of a sudden, boom, this is happening. But I think the thing that really tipped him off was he was on the Bill Maher show. That when he talked about the military-industrial complex, which there is really now called the corporate-private partnerships, which is the same thing.
All right. Russell, what are your thoughts on the UFOs that were intercepted and shot down by the U.S. military last month? I don't know if they're referring to the Chinese balloons. They were not UFOs because we know what they were. They were Chinese balloons. But there were other things. There were some things that they shot that we didn't get, and we don't know what they are. And there are things that we haven't found out what they are after we did shoot them down.
I wonder whether or not the $14 trillion that have been granted to the Pentagon, 55% of which has ended up in the hands of the military-industrial complex, which surely American people are becoming weary of, needs occasionally to be boosted with fanciful ideas of extraterrestrial invasion. Maybe there needs to be a continual reminder that the skies themselves could become a threat unless Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, BAE Systems continue to profit. Elsewise, a balloon, a perfect metaphor, for it is naught but hot air, nothing inside it, shot down.
And this is what Russell's been talking about. Military-industrial complex wants to have us there. That's where they're moving towards. That's why you see this agenda, the Great Reset, all these things happening all at once now. And they can take over lands, take over other countries, right? And their resources. And then you have science involved in it because they're creating vaccines and all this new stuff and technology and all that kind of stuff. You've got big corporations like Walmart, or let's say Amazon is also in on the game. And then you have these other huge corporations like banks and financial systems are all in this thing together, working together to control the citizens. Because that's where it is. They get you caught up in control. They control your money, your food, where you live. They control all those things, and you're at their mercy. And that's where to change your food. So overseas they're messing with the farmers and then you have the GMO stuff where you're telling them they can only grow certain seeds. If you don't grow those seeds, you can't have your farm, or they burn your farm down or whatever. Let's say Maui, let's say, for example, they want to take over Maui, they want to make it into a 15-minute city, and the people there didn't want to sell their land, so guess what? Supposedly, they use direct energy weapons to burn it down so they can build it back better. Those 15-minute cities with the affordable housing, because there's a housing crisis, and there's a housing crisis in every single country now that's part of the UN. Isn't that interesting? So all I'm saying is that he talked about these things, and he put the facts to it. He had experts come on and talk about it. And now this is what's happened to him. But he does not see himself as a victim. He knows he's going to prevail. Because the end of the game is not to say that he is a predator or a rapist. The end game is to get him off of social media, spinning and telling the truth. So, immediately after these accusations came out, they immediately pulled the plug. They got people talking, news people, and all those people being paid by these elites are putting a story that he's a rapist, he's women were raped. And all of a sudden, boom, he's gone. And they don't have to prove a thing. They can say they justified by taking him off because they just felt like they didn't want to be associated with him anymore. And they don't ever have to hire him back. They don't ever have to let him back on YouTube. This is it. They don't even have to go to court. They don't have to go to court, y'all. They could just say, we don't want to be associated with him anymore because of his reputation. They can cite the book, the tour he went on to talk about the book, and they can cite what these women have said, and that is it. He'll never be heard from again. That's what they're thinking. But you know what? I'm going to throw a card out. Because he knows he's going to win this. Now, how he wins it, he may not be on the platforms that he's been on before. But there's a lot of people behind him right now seeing the hypocrisy, seeing the setup of the game, and they are ready and willing to now take up the fight. If he drops the baton, guess what? They're ready to pick up the fight. Just like with Maui. Maui helped put things in perspective for a whole lot of people, and now a whole lot of people fighting back. So the card I put out is ambassador. He is going to lead change, y'all. He is going to be the one that inspires the persona of a person that's going to inspire change. Where Maui in Hawaii inspired people to say this isn't right, they're grabbing their land, they got this 15-minute cities, it put it out there, blasted out in the universe, right? Now you got a person, he's personifying that this is what happens to you when you speak out. And you tell the truth about this agenda. And you're big enough to be pushed over and to try to scare the citizens, the population, that if you speak up, this is going to happen to you. Which is like, it's kind of sort of like what happened with January the 6th, where, okay, we're going to have these people come out there and they're going to start a riot and they're going to come over and try to take over the government. And now we're going to show you what happens when you do that. We arrest you and we put you in prison. So now they'll teach people, don't go out there and try to take over the government and try to change government, because government, this is what's going to happen to you. So if you got any ideas in your mind about you fighting the government, this is what's going to happen to you. Just like with Russell Brand. If you think you're going to speak out and tell our truth and tell people what's happening, you think you're going to get big enough and we're going to keep paying you and sponsoring you? No. We can't sponsor snitches. Ambassador. He has become an ambassador. Nobody's saying whether or not he raped those women or he was forcefully had sex with them or whatever. It's not the point at this issue. And I feel sorry if he did do it and those girls got hurt. Should have spoke up a long time ago. When he wrote the book, he could have spoke up. That would have been better at the time, because the book would have justified maybe something really did happen. But now you're just an opportunist, right? And somebody's paying these women, in my opinion, it's an agenda, it's a setup, and they're being used because not one of them really lied. They never said he technically raped them. What they described was not particularly rape. But that's what the news wants you to think. And they want to justify taking him off YouTube, demonetizing him, taking away all his brands and his affiliates, and not giving him another job so he can no longer speak. They want to silence him. But what they did was they just released the lion. All right, that's my opinion, y'all. That's how I'm reading the cards. I hope this inspires you that you have to fight. You have to speak up for your truth. You have to have values and morals. And most importantly, you have to look at what they're doing. You have to do your research. You have to read. You have to understand that this world has changed as of 2020. The plan has been in effect longer than that, way longer than that. Been through a lot of different iterations. But this is where they are now, and they want everything to happen by 2030. And so they will shut people down. They'll call it misinformation, disinformation. And if they can't get you that way, they'll get you another way, especially if you're big enough and loud enough. They will shut you down. Russell Brand, we just got to pray for him. We have to stick by him, just like we have to do for Maui and any other area, like Morocco, that's the biggest earthquake, in over a century. And in Libya, that just had this big flood. All these people died from the flood. It's like things are mysteriously happening to be able to destroy, to build back better. Just saying. So we have to continue this fight. We have to keep reading. We have to stand behind Russell. Whatever endeavor he goes into, where he can get his voice heard and he can rally around and be an ambassador, or one of the ambassadors to stop the madness that's going on right now, so that we understand that the government people, they work for us and we don't work for them. All these crazy things that's happening, all the taxes and all the inflation, all the food changes, all this affordable housing stuff, all the electronic cars, and sending money, billions of dollars to fight a proxy war, and all that stuff. We have the voice and we have to build. They're using our money to do it. They're using our money to do it, and we're not saying anything. We're just, what can we do? We have to get serious about this, just like him. Gotta get serious. You gotta be more cautious when you're thinking about what these people are telling you, because in the end, it's going to affect you, whether you're a Russell Brand figure or not. You're going to be impacted, because people are going to sit back and allow these people in government and control to do what the heck ever they want to do, and it's not the way it's supposed to be. We have sovereignty, we have inalienable rights, and they have a responsibility to us. Unfortunately, we've allowed people to get into office who don't have a best interest at heart, and two, there are people in office who have been placed by those people in office. They've been appointed to help them carry out their deeds. So it seems like it's more them against us, but really and truly it's more of us that we need to step up, and we need to speak up, and we need to do something. Go to your city council meetings, go to your meetings regarding your state or your country, wherever these big meetings where the public is allowed to attend. Protest, write letters of protest, go out and talk to your neighbors and your family and your community and let them see what is happening, and tell them, hey, if you don't believe what I'm saying, come to these meetings with us. But also understand that they use double talk, and they use words that says like affordable housing, because there's a housing crisis when there is none. They only want to build those houses that are going to put people in it to create these 15-minute cities where when you lose your job to AI, you have somewhere to go. But once you go into those houses, guess what? You're under the control of the government, because their motto, the Great Reset from the WEF, is you will own nothing and you'll be happy. How the heck are you going to be happy not owning anything? Because the only thing you can have in this world that you should be working towards in this world, is owning what you work for. Having assets and having land gives you say-so, and they're trying to take it away from you. The ability to have ownership is crucial. Yes, it may be convenient to stay in an apartment complex with the government subsidizes it, and you only pay $6 a month because that's all you can afford. But who controls you? You can't pay that $6, or you don't do what they tell you to do, they kick you out. You don't want to be homeless, especially if you have children. They understand that game. That's what you call psychological warfare against people, using their mind against them, making them feel fear. You don't need to feel fear. You have the ability with your neighbors in your community to say, we don't want this, we're not having it, and we will not comply. Because you don't like it. And it's for the people. So we got to be careful how we talk on YouTube, right? Because we don't want to go against their fact finders. But we need to understand that saying that we have the right to fight for what we want is not against the Constitution in the United States, and it's not against other citizens' rights in their own country. You got to know what your rights are, and you got to fight for it before they change it. And the thing about it is also, you got to look at it this way. They are men and women just like we are men and women. They're no better than us. We've just become complacent and stepped back and let them take over. And you got to shift the game, man. You got to shift the game. You got to say, no, we are going to take control of this. We're going to come to all these meetings, and we're going to make sure that you do what we want, the majority of us, not the majority of you want. And that's nothing wrong with it. That is the way it's supposed to work. When you see your government getting too big and getting out of control, you need to step up and say, no. Because right now, you know what we're doing? We're paying taxes upon taxes upon taxes upon fees upon taxes. And they're just taking it and writing these laws, and we're like, oh, we got to pay it. Oh, we got to pay it. Instead of saying, like the Tea Party did back in the Boston Tea Party back in the 1600s, read about that. No taxation without representation. They did what they had to do. Now, maybe that won't work today the same way, but we have to do something to let them know that we're not going to comply with this. You're taxing us too much. You're changing too many things we don't want. You're taking things away from us, and you're kind of not telling the truth on a lot of things. So we want to call you out on it, and we're going to make sure that we hold you accountable to making sure you're doing the best for the people and not for yourself. That is important. It's crucial, and that's what Russell was trying to teach and preach and tell and awaken people to, and that was forbidden. It was forbidden. If it's forbidden, you got to ask yourself why. So anyway, that is my reading for today. I hope that you all do start reading up on this stuff. I do hope you start attending these meetings in your area and getting involved and talking to your family and saying, this stuff doesn't make sense. We need to do something. We think it's out of control, and we need to get things back in balance. Especially in America, where it says the Constitution is for the people, by the people, of the people, not of the elite, not for, about, and of the elite. It's about us, and we give them special responsibilities to the people in government to work for us, to make things equitable and reasonable and work better for us. They were there just to help ease the process not to take over the process. And unfortunately, for the past 20 years, the citizens have been off track, living their lives while these things have been taking place, and we've been distracted. So let's not stay distracted. Let's work on building a better government, building a better community, building better jobs, better opportunities for people so they can own land, own their homes, have a good job, have good health care, have a decent life. A really good life if they want. Own their businesses. Travel. Have as many kids as they want, as long as they can take care of them. And at the end of their life, they can pass down their legacy to their children. Because the other things we got to work on these things that's happening to our children, that they're trying to change the children's mind about who they are and how they are, and they're making these children schizophrenic, y'all. They're saying you could be whatever you want to be. And they're having these surgeries to change themselves over, and they're putting certain people dressed a certain way in their face, saying, this is cool, this is fine, this is normal. Don't you understand they're indoctrinating your children so that they can carry out their agenda? They got them so confused, they don't know which way they're coming or going. So we can't let somebody like Russell Brand disappear from the space he was in. We need more people like him coming up and actually speaking truth to power. We need more of him, not less. And what he did in his past, he'll deal with if he did anything wrong. But who he is now, what he's trying to do now, that is what we need. Nobody's perfect. He's admitted to his transgressions over the years and how he got to that point. And he's transformed. And let's work with that now. Not get rid of a voice because he had issues. Because if that's the case, shoot, 90% of the people in office would not be in office right now because of the background. But that's a different situation. He shouldn't be shut down because of and canceled because of that. That is a plan and a setup what's happening, in my opinion, right now to him. So anyway, that's my piece I'm saying today. Read for you. I hope you got something out of it. Stand up, speak up, be about business, y'all. Only you can help save this situation. Only the community can help save this situation. And I'm not talking about just Russell, I'm talking about us. Only we can do this. But we got to get off our duffs and we've got to speak up. We got to learn about what's happening and stop putting our head in the sand and saying that's not going to happen. That's just a conspiracy theorist. That's just somebody with a tinfoil hat. I'm sorry. They took your rights away when they made you wear masks. They made you stay home in lockdown, which is prison, and told you had to put something in your body you didn't really want. I'm sorry. You didn't have a problem with that. And every time there's a new variant, you got to get another shot. But there's no guarantee it's going to help you. Maybe. But you could lose your job if you don't take this thing. But you say there's no problem. I bet if I asked you 10 years ago if this had happened, a scenario in the future, what would you do? You would say, I ain't taking it. I wouldn't do what they tell me to do. Blah, blah, blah. But when it happened, you fell to it because they used your mind against you and made you have fear. Oh, if you get it, you can give it to grandma and grandma could die. You gotta wear a mask because, you don't want to be putting germs out there. You need to stay home, right? Not go to school, not go to work. People lost their jobs, kids got behind in school. It didn't, I'm not gonna go there. Anyway, that is my piece for today. I hope you all had a great day. And you take this into consideration. There's other YouTube channels that's talking about it as well. Get a whole rounded view of what's happening. You're entitled to your opinion, of course. These are just my opinions and how I read the cards. So just if you have any questions, let me know. Yes, I'm fired up. I can see this stuff going really bad for us if we don't speak up and do something about it, okay? So it's just the way it's going to be. So anyway, y'all have a great day. Talk to you later. Blessings.